All right, this is Kat Sturtz from rockingyourpath.com and Fast Action Fridays. It's Friday, and we're starting just a little bit late, but we'll get our whole half hour in because I want you guys to hear what my special co-host guest, Wendy Manganaro, I hope I said that right, has to tell you about social media analytics, buying Facebook ads and boosted posts, and whether it's good for your business or not. And if it is, how to do it better. Thank you for joining us, Wendy.
You're so welcome. And I apologize. Technology just does what it wants sometimes. And yeah, my Mac was not cooperating today. So I apologize.
Well, I don't know if you heard or not. I had one Fast Action Friday where I was down at my sister's, and because my husband was in the hospital, and I couldn't get into the seat at all. They couldn't hear me. They couldn't see me. I could do everything. And my guest actually ran the show, and I just ran the sidebar adding things in. So we make it work. There's always a plan B and a plan C. I asked John into the seat because he has done Facebook ads with varying degrees of success in the past. So he may have some questions for you. So, you have social abundance marketing, and I'm going to let you just quickly give a self intro.
So I have started this particular marketing company 3 years ago now. My gosh, almost 4. Oh, July, it's going to be 4 years. Wow, does time fly?
Whoa.
But I have worked in the field of social media for the last 6, and I have always run companies' social media for them. So clients come to me when they need help understanding a strategy, ways for it to make it work. I figured out through the process of doing lots of people's social media that I prefer to teach people how to do it, because I really believe that the buy-in comes in with having a great strategy and then learning how to do that. Now, if they choose to hire somebody afterwards, that's great, but at least they understand, because it's hard to tell somebody something so important and then them not do anything about it, and then it doesn't work, or it doesn't, whatever it does or doesn't do, or it works great and they expect every single thing to be like that. So when I coach people, we talk about things like target markets and why it's important and where they are online and how your traditional marketing works with, not in lieu of, either way, your social media marketing. So I love coaching entrepreneurs and getting them to see the aha moments. And so I'm not your typical social media guru in the sense that I'm going to promise you 10,000 people on a thing. I'm going to promise you you're going to get in front of the right people, and the right people will hire you, because I consider myself an attraction community coach, and bringing on the offline, online, and vice versa.
That was one of the things I know John learned. He had great success getting people onto a list, but they weren't buying anything. So therefore it was determined that wasn't really a good outlay of money or strategy for him, because it wasn't producing the ultimate results he wanted. And a lot of people do that. They think, oh, great, I've got all these people, it's working. But if it's not working towards your intended goal, then no, it's not. So Wendy, you've got some fast action tips for us. And if you're new to Fast Action Fridays, our tips are about taking action in 15 minutes or less to get you out of the gate moving. Okay, so what do you have for us?
So the first one, which we already touched on briefly, is don't put the cart before the horse. I can't tell you how many people go, I'm going to boost this post. You don't know who they're or why they're boosting it or what they've even written. So don't put the cart before the horse. Make sure that that when you are ready to do ads, you have really researched your target market. You know your messaging, you know your content. Most importantly, you know that you're solving a problem for your potential target. A lot of people get so afraid of niche markets. Don't be afraid of them, because in my experience, I have always done niche markets, and the outlay of the other clients that I've been able to get because I've stayed focused is imperative. But don't spend money unless you know who you're trying to attract. It will just be thrown away dollars. So that's the first thing.
Okay. Before you go to the second tip, can you give people an explanation of the difference between buying a Facebook ad and putting money towards a boosted post?
Okay, and so that's really down further in the list, but I will tell you the difference between a Facebook ad and a boosted post. A Facebook ad allows a much broader sense of targeting. A boosted post is really putting your faith in a third-party site that they are going to kind of know based on these. They're targeted, but they're not really targeted ads. You know, you may get you get the location, the age, and maybe a couple interests, but it's not enough. It's not enough. And so I see people who make the mistake of they'll boost a post and they'll boost it for impressions, which just makes my heart ache for them. And they spend money on impressions, but impressions don't equal actions. And if they don't equal actions, then it's not worth spending the money. So they pay $5 for actions and for impressions, and they've received no results from them. So that's the difference. Boosted post does not allow you to target as much as a Facebook ad. And then there is like Facebook ads on steroids being able to target through the Power Editor. So there's like 3 different phases. And I recommend not being afraid of that Power Editor. I teach classes on it all the time, do private coaching on it, because that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck.
That's great. That's great. The other thing I've noticed with boosted posts, and I've never put money towards them, but they lull you into a false sense that you're doing the right thing because it's giving you, so many people have seen this, boost this to see more, but it's like giving your keys to your car to your teenager to drive rather than getting in the car and taking the car where you need it to go. All right, so go on with your fast action tip.
Right, and just really quick on saying that. So you get all of those little messages. It's doing great, boost it. It's doing great organically. Why are you paying for it? Come out of the mindset. I mean, really, if it's doing great, if you need a post to do well that's not doing well, then spend the money there. Don't spend money that's already being organically shared and doing well. That's just, it's backwards thinking. It's Facebook's way of I need more money, but it's backwards thinking in the long run. So the second one is customize your ads to the smaller audience. So your ads and images really are important to the audience you're trying to capture. I can't tell you again, and this goes back to targeting, is that we do this broad ad trying to capture whoever. I mean, I love certain people that tell me things like, I just need faces because I sell makeup, or I just need, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, what does that mean? So here's what we're trying to do. If you are selling something, I'm going to just give you a really easy example. If you are selling birthday cards, which this is just a hypothetical, then there is a way on Facebook to target people as they're going toward their birthday, or their friends of the people who are going to be celebrating birthdays soon. And so make sure that your appropriate ad says something like, your best friend is turning 40, whatever it is, and then you're only putting it in front of those people, because what happens is that we try to do these broad image and capture everything in the ad, and we haven't said anything that's going to actually connect with our audience. So the content and doing multiple ads with different content for the right audience is more important than one general ad hoping that it catches something. Mm-hmm. So do a couple smaller targeted, right messaging, right pictures, and picture ads are incredible for you to do. It's one of the best ways to get yourself. Also video ads, but again, make sure that you know who you're putting into. So an example is if you really want to attract people who like People magazine, that's your thing. So make an ad that mentions that somehow, that something that was in a recent issue, something that was, because that audience will get it, and you can put that ad in front of that audience.
Right. And I love how specific you're being and giving examples of what it means to target and to really narrow down to that niche. And you can do more than one niche, just do it with different ads if you truly have a multiple niche company or business or focus. All right. I know you've got more for us, and there's just so much information that I know you share, and I've heard you share it. So I know I know the way you share it, even newbies can absorb it and take it to heart. So what's the next tip?
All right, the next tip is in the Power Editor. I'm specifically speaking about this. You can create what's called custom audiences. The importance of a custom audiences is a couple of things. One, it allows you to kind of recreate in other scenarios people who already like your Facebook page. So you can get like a 1% population of the type of audience you want from your Facebook page. Now, if you do not like the people who have liked your Facebook page, they are not buying. This is not the type of custom audience to do. Because a lot of people are like, well, I'll just get more people. I'm like, are those people buying? No, then why are we trying to copy that? We need to bring new people in. But the other type of custom audience is via your website. You can put a code in your website if your website is getting enough attraction, meaning they're getting things from SEO, they're getting things from just organically coming to your site. You can put a code in your website that kind of allows a Facebook ad to come back up for them when they go back to Facebook. That is another type of custom audience. It's very specific. It takes a little bit more training and technology to do that, but it is one of the best things, because if you have somebody who's coming to the site and they get all the way to the cart and they don't press buy, you want that ad to come back up on Facebook. Again, very niche to who the audience is. They didn't purchase. Now, what are you going to say to change their mind? So that's the next type of custom audience you can do. The third one, which is we hear all about, is this list building. Because on Facebook, list building is really important, because you can import all of your emails into a custom audience and make sure that, let's say you just sent out that email blast and you're looking at the rates of opens and it's not as exciting as you want it to be. You can then try a different way of putting out that content on a Facebook ad directly, again, because it's a warm audience, in front of those who are on your list, if you like your list. Sometimes you have to start from scratch, and that's okay. There's no shame in that, because a lot of us, including me when I first started and didn't know better, we want to collect an audience.
Right. And there is a process involved. This is not, we are not saying that this is overnight success for you. You have to be willing to put the time to think about what's going on, evaluate what's going on, try things differently, but do it in a conscious way, following people who are giving you great advice, like Wendy is today. Okay. You have more for us, Wendy?
And we've talked about this, but we'll go again. I don't allow any of my clients to boost a post. And in the past, when I have done people's social media, I will know, they think I don't know. That's the really funny thing. I'm an admin. I can see that people are boosting posts and they're like, well, I just thought, I'm like, but you paid an ad budget to get it in front of the right people the right way. Don't get excited just because you see a sign. So don't be fooled by the fact that you can have success through Facebook ads, but don't be fooled by the way that Facebook wants you to do it. Make sure that you are not, what I call, a lot of people in different ways, they think they're victims of social media. You are not a victim. You have lots of choices. Think about them clearly. Think about them before you do that, and don't fall into the media marketing practices of Facebook wants to make money. I'll never forget when Facebook started, and I had a colleague, and he said, Facebook is the greatest marketing tool, and we marketers are going to ruin it. And that is exactly what is happening, because a lot of marketers will say, go ahead, do this, and it may not even be the best thing for you to do, and then you don't think Facebook marketing works. And that's not true. It's just that you've been sold a bill of goods in hopes to, out of fear, make more money than a natural progression of building.
Right. And it makes no sense to not expect Facebook to make some revenue from people there when they're giving you free access to market a business you hope to make money on.
Right.
That kind of thinking just makes no sense. And it's counterproductive, as you said.
And,
all right.
And I have one last tip, and when it goes about the whole money making thing, is what's really important to understand what that is that we spend money, prior to Facebook, we spent money on telephone ads were ridiculously expensive. Magazines were ridiculously expensive. All of these things, and we got to Facebook and went, not spending any money, just not happening. And I'm like, really? That doesn't make sense. If you spend it wisely, it makes sense. It takes 6 times to be seen in a magazine, either weekly or monthly, for somebody even to consider to buy something from you. It should only take, if done right, 1.2 times for somebody to see your ad to make a decision. That is the number that you're trying to get to.
Yeah, I deal with a local radio station, and I was a newspaper editor reporter, but I also sold newspaper ads. I moved into the advertising sale. I was a Yellow Page advertising executive. Yes, it was a great medium back in its day, and there's still some things going on, but that mentality of what to spend money on. This particular radio station, sells radio ads. Knows the value of radio ads, but refuses to have a Facebook account because somebody might post something derogatory on their page. I'm saying turn off comments, if you're that worried. So talk about here's somebody who should know better, going into it with blinders, it's like,
we can have a whole other Fast Action Friday on just that topic. I promise you, because
I want you back. Definitely.
Of every type of thought process when it comes, and really that one needs to be Fast Action Friday of 5 ways to get rid of fear through fear of social media, because
I'm writing it down. We're going to schedule it, Wendy.
Okay, but that's a whole other topic that I've dealt with for years. And part of coaching is just getting people over those fears. Okay.
Yeah.
So the last action, for the time's sake, is test and pre-test. I can't tell you how many people go, okay, I have a $150 budget, or I have this. And just on budgeting, it used to be that it was $1 a day to run a Facebook ad. It's been like that for years. It was $1 a day. It is now $5 a day. It is not, they are not playing. And the only way that sometimes, and it depends on where you are, if they've changed everybody over, they'll still allow $1 a day if you do impressions. Again, impressions are wonderful if you just want to get your brand out there and don't want to sell anything, don't want to connect with anybody. If you really just need, I'm a brand new brand and I want people to see me, impressions are good. Still a little bit of a waste of money, but because why wouldn't you want them to take the action of liking your page, signing up for your email, or at least some sort of content connection with your content? $5 a day, but test. I can't tell you enough to test the post. So what I mean is test one audience for $5, for $15 for 3 days, and see how that works. Simultaneously run that same ad against a slightly different audience and see which one at the end of the 3 days that you're really getting a return on investment before you go spend the complete $150. Once you know 2 things, one, that your ad will work, that the content is working, B, what audience it's working on, then you can then start to do other ads in the next couple of weeks that is really zoned in to the right target market. The other thing with that is also, oh God, and I lost it. It was so there. I hate when that's just a senior moment. Okay, it'll come back.
We all have them.
We all have them. But once you know which audience is the correct one, save that as one of the custom audiences too. You can do that. That goes back to my other custom audiences. Once you realize, as you're doing the test, save both of them. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to say very quickly. If you're doing test post, again, and Facebook gets all excited because you're getting organic feedback on one of your posts, make sure that you're really thinking and intentionally setting up what you want to happen as far as which posts you're going to make into an ad, what things you're going to do as like ads, any of the ads that you do. You don't have to run them for a month straight through because people may get sick of seeing them. So intentionally think about which content is the most important before you make it into an ad. Don't just make everything into an ad.
Right. And you're not going back to that boosted post and the engagement. You know, I've had some things go off the charts in engagement, but looking at who engaged, they're not people who will be buying my stuff or buying coaching. You know, as much as they love me, they are not a target market for me. So that would be a huge waste of time. It'd be a big ego boost. And then it'd come crashing down because it didn't develop into anything. All right. Before we go into some Q&A, I don't have your link. So if you want to put into the chat bar a link on how people can reach you, please do so. John, I've got yours ready to pop in again in a little bit.
And
or
guys,
you can put it in there as well.
I'm sitting here and I'm working on painting.
He's literally painting.
As we speak.
How cool.
Portrait with pets in that one. And he does really, really well with those. But I love his landscapes. That's how we first connected, was with his landscapes. So, all right. So go ahead and put that in the sidebar, Wendy, when you get a chance there. Questions. John, do you have questions? I would think that you would have questions for Wendy.
I think certainly one of the things, because everything that you've said is certainly something that I've done both previously, and it's something, again, that you can kind of come back to. And as Kat and I were chatting about yesterday, it's one of the common things that people will do, particularly starting out in business. It's something I find a lot, is that they will go to the Facebook ads without actually doing a whole lot of research. And again, exactly what you were saying, and I've done it myself. You know, you put money in and you can create, you know, thousands and thousands of followers. But the reality is not even followers, but you can create people, numbers. And when it comes down to it, when it comes crunch time, you've maybe got 100, 150, 200 that will actually continuously follow your content and your work, depending, obviously, what you're putting out there. What was it for you, I suppose, that really clicked, and all of a sudden you said, now we're on to something with regards to Facebook ads, and I suppose the understanding process of that?
Well, you have to understand. So I've been in the Facebook game, I feel like almost pretty shortly after it kind of went into public. And so I have seen literally the progression of this is the worst thing in the world and this is never going to work, to a system where I'm like, this is really a fruitful system. And every update, if you understand the background of it and how to kind of work the tool toward what you need, is better and better. I mean, I'm the social media geek that will get like new analytics, and I'll spend 3 till 3 in the morning going, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Oh my God, you know, like, so I'm that geek, but I've been like that since the start. Like, oh, this can really work. So saying that, Facebook really has done a very good job at building a platform that can work. I won't say that. I think the biggest problem that we have is that idea that people don't want to spend money on it because of fear that it won't work, or they've tried it and it didn't work because they don't know how to do it.
Exactly, yeah.
But I out of all of the social networks, I run Twitter ads. I can do a whole thing on that. I've run LinkedIn ads. I can do Pinterest, Instagram. At the end of the day, they are followers of Facebook, not trendsetters.
Yeah.
Any of them. LinkedIn's, God love it, is the worst because it takes like a year for them to go, oh, maybe it worked. Let's try that over. They're like the slowest progression. It's anyway. So for me, it has really been a love of not only seeing it progress, but getting in there and really testing and playing with it to really understand, and not to say that it won't continue to change. I just did a whole thing on the one thing that you can guarantee is that Facebook and life will change. Those two things are like, which is good, because again, it becomes a fear thing if you're not used to it. But that's my thing. I'm just passionately in love with a medium that really came in a time where it really shook up the whole advertising marketing world, because it's not about just we're going to tell you what you want. It has to be they're going to tell us what we want. And it's game changing, and it continues to be game changing.
Well, has the whole process of doing Facebook ads and the ability to narrow that niche gotten better and better over time, what they've allowed you to do? I mean, that's a sign of somebody who not only wants to make money, but wants to make it easier for those paying for that service to make money. Because obviously, if it works for you, you're going to do more of it, right?
Absolutely.
That's right. And that's why, and it's really funny because at first, I guess it was 2 years ago, Facebook finally, if you ran so much money in ads, and being that I've done a lot of companies over the years, I look every year and go, oh, that's how much we're up to this year. And then I closed it down because it's a lot of money. But Facebook finally about 2 years ago got smart and said, we're going to contact, I tell you, there's a lot of people who work at Facebook and they'll call you. That you will never, ever, unless you do this for a living, be able to get them to do that. But because I had run so many ads and because of the successes, they actually had given me my own consultant for a Christmas season. I was so excited. I was like, there's a lot of people who work at Facebook, and they will walk you through everything. And some of the biggest problems that I was having, like people overtook one of That Baby's Badass Burgers. They had overtaken a Facebook page, and I could not get Facebook to believe that somebody had taken over this Facebook page. And there was thousands of fans sitting there that we could not touch. And through that connection, I had finally gotten somebody live to listen to me and combine that page so that all the thousands of people would be in the same place. So it is a medium that just keeps getting better because they want to be the Google of social.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't think people oftentimes realize that it comes down to, as you were saying, Wendy, it's a love for what you do. And I was reading on Instagram the other day that, 97% of people that give up on their dreams are employed by the 3% that haven't. And whether or not that's an accurate statistic or not, I don't know. But for me, and again, I won't cut into your time, but for me, what I found was when I got sick with colitis, maybe about 6 years ago, prior to Kat and I working together, Facebook gave me the platform to become an international artist. And now we go to the United States, Australia, Canada, all over the world.
Germany, didn't you just add Germany?
Yeah, Germany. And later on in this, I think in May, in fact, this next month coming up, we're going to be adding New Zealand to the list as well, which is fantastic. I mean, to be able to say that, and then, it sounds like a stupid thing to say, but being an international artist and an international musician and not leaving your home it doesn't make sense. All of us, it does because of the power of Facebook. Right. And it's now taken, I think, for people that are limited, and it makes, we provide jobs for people with disabilities. We specifically target them. Because number one, they're going to be loyal, but number two, they're the people that society's written off and said, well, we can't give you a job because you've got X, Y, and Z wrong with you. And the reality is now it makes it so easy actually to work from home. But as both of you have said, people either have the fear, they don't know enough about it, they don't want to learn enough about it, but also it dawns on them, hey, you need money to make your business grow. But even starting out, you put money into your business that you didn't have. Sometimes I know I certainly did. Yeah. And it was one of the things that all of a sudden it was like, oh my goodness, this is actually working. And you see little by little, I've been doing this 11 years, 4 of them working with Kat. And it's that longevity that people look to as well, more than anything else. And especially on social media now. As you said, they look at your brand, which is something we're evaluating as we speak. but they essentially buy you. And when you can be you on Facebook and on a social media platform, it's incredible. It really is. And it means that I don't need to see thousands and thousands of people every year as well.
Right.
Well, that's really important what you say there, is because one of the things that I know is that that seems to be the caveat of where people go wrong on Facebook. They think because there's a screen that they don't want to share them. And let me tell you, the more you can share your story of why, just like anywhere else, people buy the why. It has sometimes it is. I mean, it's great about the product, but people buy the why. And I just want to share really, really quickly. I was a job coach that moved into a directorship of helping people with disabilities before I started. Right. My son was born with high functioning autism, and they told me I could not work from home. And I said, love you all. Do you know what we do for a living? And I came home and started my company to help women in another way. So I commend you because you get it, and that's really important.
That's great. I'm going to read Cindy's question for you, Wendy. She's the Write It For You. One, I see Blab's ability to pop the question into an open seat isn't working again today. But it says, do you feel the same way about ads for events, posts, graphics, etc.? Do you customize them the same way? Are they all worth boosting? Or are you talking only about posts? And can you be a small investor, $20, or do you need a minimum of 150? And there's like 3 questions in there. So we're going to go over a little bit today, which I think is fine. We started late, and this is an important topic. So why don't you start first again with describing the difference between an ad and a boosted post, and then take it from there.
So the difference between an ad and a boosted post is really targeting. A boosted post does not allow you to do the targeting that the Facebook ads platform will allow you to do, and more especially the Facebook Power Editor. So there's like levels of the ability to target. Each one goes up a step. And so for the exact question, though, do you feel the same about ads, about events, posts, and graphics? I'm going to honestly tell you, I am not, I know this is going to sound so strange, I am not a Facebook events gal. I don't really use it. I think that a lot of people see it and ignore it. And so to spend money to get people to see the event that they're going to ignore anyway, which they're going to interact more with a post, a graphic, or a video, is really the best bet. If you're going to spend money, that's just my take on it. Now, you may have a completely different view, and we'd have to talk about your exact target market and what you're trying to do. But for me, that's what I've learned over the years and I've tried it with all sorts. And I'm like, people talk about it, and I just go, okay, we're going to do something else now. So now customizing them, yes. They all do, whether you do an engaged post, a like ad, a video, it all should be customized. It should not be the blanket same message across the board, because the type of people who are going to watch a video ad is going to be different than the type of, and react to a video ad is going to be different than somebody who engages in a post or likes an ad. The idea is that Facebook is supposed to, once you give them the target market, supposed to put, if you're paying for the actions, are supposed to put that ad in front of people who are going to be more likely to take the action on that type of ad. Once you get over 1,000 fans, they don't do it at less than that. You get your regular page demographics on your page, but once you get over 1,000 fans, you can really see what they react to in the customized audience. It allows you to see your audiences for your page. And I recommend that everybody looks at that after they have 1,000 fans. It's in the Power Editor under Tools. But I recommend you look for that, because that'll tell you the type of ad your particular fans are looking to do. The last thing is, can you be a small investor of $20? Yes. Just know that the smaller the investment, the less days that you can run. And so if you only have $20, do $5 every week. Go into your analytics on your Facebook page and see what day you have the most fans online, and run the ad that day.
That's great. Thanks for those questions, Wendy. Answers, Wendy. Thanks for the questions, Cindy. I was so glad to hear you say that about Facebook events. I thought I was the only one who was telling people, don't waste your time. And yeah, if you're just putting something up there, of all of the ones I've seen and all of the people that I know personally who have done them, I have only seen them work in 2 specific instances, and they were for local events, tight audience, tight, and we all knew that that's where we had to go to actually sign up. Mm-hmm. And it worked fine, but I know she didn't pay. She just used the regular event, thing, the event posting thing. So glad to hear you say that. Oh, it's hard being that oddball out on the limb by yourself sometimes. And that's how we feel when we have a different point of view from gurus out there. I have a question, and I'm asking this on behalf of some other people. Should you wait to consider Facebook ads, actually paying for Facebook ads, before you have 1,000 followers?
No. And the reason why, so if you're launching a page today, it is very different than when you launched it 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you could organically just peace and love and people would follow your page. Those are also the people that are not active on your page today, but that's just the way that it is. So I recommend doing a little bit of you want to get likes, you want to make sure you email everybody, have it on the bottom of your tagline, all of that stuff, all of that free stuff. But I would recommend in the chain of how to do this is run Facebook likes, because that's going to be your warm audience to run engagement. So once you know your target, run your likes, get to that 1,000 number. 30 people allows you to have analytics. 1,000 allows you to have deep analytics. So yes, you want to get there. It's okay. And it's okay to run engagement ads, because I like engagement ads for one reason. It gives you, if you're running an engagement ad to go to a website, it can get you clicks. It can get you comments. It can get you likes for the post and the page. So the engagement ad is like the catch-all of everything, that you might get a little great mix. And I recommend people doing that. Again, make sure it's what you really want engagement on. But then I also recommend that if you're trying to get clients now, make sure you have a decent amount of likes, and maybe run a simultaneous like ad and one to go to your website at the same time. Because if you're trying to build a business and you need money and you know your target market, it's okay to run both at the same time. The other thing that I find happens is that local businesses do not put people on the spot enough to like their Facebook page. And really, they should work in unison together, not apart. So if you have a local business, every person that walks in the door, give them $1 off if you're a restaurant. We did this with babies in Jacksonville, Florida. And I could always tell when they were running their $1 off to like them on Facebook. Don't do this online. Listen very carefully. It is against Facebook's terms of service to give away things to like you in a Facebook, like to say like my page and give you something on a Facebook post. But if you are in person with that person and you have a customer coming towards you, I could always tell, because my ads went up in numbers and the actual likes went up. I knew that when they served, when they stopped serving, and we grew one of the fastest Facebook pages in the Jacksonville area in that year than any other food truck that had come up on the scene. And it was because
that's great.
In unison.
Right. That's actually something you can do, because that John could do, because he does do classes and he is in galleries, and he's also a youth minister. So he's got kids there, and there's other ways. Now, I wouldn't actually bribe the kids to do that, but there's an incentive there. Christopher has a question. How did you know that Facebook advertising is right for you?
Ask your audience.
Yeah.
So one of the most important things to do is that when we're when I do the discovery of target markets and who's really your target market, is part of the question is what platforms you should go on. But also, one of the the most important question is, do you click on ads? If they do not, Facebook ads may not be right for you. I am not you have to. You really have to know your audience and really need to find out if they do click on ads, what type of ads they click on, whether they'll do referrals for you as far as referring you online, and whether or not they'll do reviews. Don't be afraid to ask your client these questions, because if you like that client, you want to get another one like them. And so you need to listen to the one in front of you.
Right. Jamie posted, and I added my 2 cents already. He said, it is important to hire graduate level professionals. Taking advice from people with unrelated or unfinished major is the same as asking a lawyer to rebuild your engine. And yes, I agree that you need to go to people with practical business experience on this. I disagree that it necessarily has to be an academic degree. I know a lot of people with academic degrees in business that can't market themselves out of a box. So I would rather, I don't care if they have a degree behind their name, but if they're experienced and have a lot of practical success doing it themselves, generating it for themselves, generating it for their clients, and they can teach that and coach that, that's what's important. This idea we have to have the letters behind our name and it automatically gives us the insight is BS. Excuse me.
Can I just chime in one thing there on that point? It's actually interesting, certainly over here in the UK. I don't know what it's like in the United States and the rest of the world, but we find people that have studied for 4 and 5 years that ended up doing jobs that have nothing to do with the degree that they're actually studying. I've got a background in business, but I didn't have a background in really learning how to apply it. And that, again, was through working with Kat and through various other people. Well, a background helps. It's actually, you look to the people that are doing what you want to do, essentially, rather than, so-and-so's got an academic, so they must know exactly what they're talking about. Sometimes, unfortunately, they don't.
And, it's so funny because I'm a criminal justice major, and so I have to kind of solve mysteries, and that's what I feel like my Facebook experience has been. So solving that mystery. But I am currently getting my MBA, which just was on hold, and I'm very excited. I only have 2 more classes.
I think that's awesome. I didn't get my bachelor's degree in business administration until I was 58. I had a certified marketing coach earlier, but I didn't even start college until my youngest was a sophomore. But I was teaching college credit courses because I had the background in writing, marketing, and editing, and they didn't have qualified instructors at that time. And having somebody who actually knew what they were doing was more important to them than having somebody with a degree. Now I can't even be an adjunct professor in marketing or writing because of the qualifications. It's kind of ridiculous, even though I've been doing this since 1971. I was early on CompuServe as a whiz-op there and a sys-op, and the Building Your Business Coach on CompuServe, which doesn't even exist now. So yeah, I've come a long way. Gina says, I absolutely agree with Kat, thank you, on the less importance of finishing or having a college degree. That doesn't make a person. And I've been a college counselor for 14 years. Yes, it is great to have that piece of paper, but a person should never get overlooked because they don't have that BSBA. Yes. And one of the reasons I picked the college I ended up graduating from, Northwood, it's a private business college. Every professor had to have ongoing, current, practical, world business experience in what they taught, and not just the degrees behind their name. Well, this has been wonderful. We've gone over time. We will definitely have Wendy back. Check it out. Also check out my program that I'm doing with Charlene Burke. It starts Monday. It is especially for beginners and intermediate users of Facebook, LinkedIn, and other social media sites. It's called Stand Out from the Crowd, Be Original, Engaging, and Effective on Social Media. And I'm going to pop in the registration page. It's not much. It's live workshops, all recorded. So if you can't attend live, you can catch them at your convenience. We were going to be teaching you how to do your profile. A lot of the things that will put you in a position to take and run with the information Wendy gave us today, because the target people for this are not people that are probably ready for Facebook ads yet. Wendy, thank you so much. Thank you for working through the problems getting you live in the seat today. And John, thank you for being an awesome participant today. Cindy, Chris, Gina, even Jamie, who I eventually kicked off, for your awesome comments and your feedback. We'll see you next week at 10:30 for the next Fast Action Friday. And let's see here. My guest is Becky Forsland, who is going to be teaching us how to do yoga. And she's going to be teaching us from where she is, and we can do it right in our home offices with her teaching. So that's pretty awesome. This is Kat Sturtz from rockingyourpath.com, reminding you to keep rocking your unique path to success.